A good night of Shabbos, everyone. Parshas Ki Seitzei, one of the first mitzvos in the parsha, deals with the mitzvah of ben Sorah Mora, mitzvah of a rebellious child. We understand the rebellious child, this window of opportunity to call a child a rebellious child is really 3 months' time after the child's bar mitzvah. The child eats too much, drinks too much. Parents wash their hands of the child. They bring him to the beis din and they say, that we can't raise this child. He's ben Sorah Mora, and you have to deal with him. Beis din takes him outside and kills him. Besides the etzem halacha, the law of dealing with something that way, how complicated that is. Imagine how that could possibly happen. How parents could bring their child to the beis din knowing the child is going to be killed because there's nothing that a beis din can do because of this recalcitrant trial. That also the requirements that are made by the Torah, the requirements that are made by the rabbis are almost impossible. Parents have to be the same. They have to have the same voice. They have to look the same. It's almost impossible that this would ever happen. As a matter of fact, the Talmud mentions that this halacha, this law, will never happen. So then why is it in the Torah? The classic understanding of why it's in the Torah is because of the main essence of the law. And the rabbis say, drosh v'kabel schar. Expound this section of the Torah and you'll receive tremendous reward. The reward is going to come from the fact that you're going to learn what it's like to raise children. You're going to learn about issues of child rearing. You're going to learn what it's like, what it means, what is needed in order to be able to raise a child that is not a rebellious child, to raise a child that follows his parents, a child that is a nachas. And all of those secrets and all of those principles are embedded in this section of the Torah. The section of the Torah here is to teach a principle, not to teach a halacha. It's not to tell us a practical thing. It's not meant do this. It's meant learn this. Learn this section of the Torah and you'll be able to raise beautiful, wonderful, amazing children. But I think perhaps there's something else in this section because there's something else about the section that's so difficult. That we know that this child, in principle, is looked at as nidon al shum sofa. We look at where he's going to go. Where is behavior like this as a child, a 13-year-old, where is it going to end up? It's going to end up in such a horrific place. Take him out of the world now before he messes up too badly. Nidon al shum sofa. We look at where the end of this is going to go. But that's not a Jewish principle. We don't look at things where they're going to go. We don't get locked into things. We don't say that it's impossible for him to change. That runs counter to the whole concept of the Torah, the whole concept of tshuva, the concept of repentance, of change, of growth. This whole section of the Torah, forget about the fact that it's impossible to actually carry out and that it's a weird, odd concept. It's an impossible concept, the concept that seems to run in the exact counter to the very principles and essence of the Torah. Then why would we have such a section in the Torah? Why would we have a section that's not about Basher Ushom? God looks at a person where they are right now. Where are you right now? Not where you're going. It's not about where you're going to be. It's about who you are right now. So why would we have such a section, such a thing in the Torah? So I was thinking that maybe that's exactly what the Torah is trying to teach us. That Nidon al Shum Sofo is impossible. That the reason why the Torah learns this section is because the Torah wants us to understand that this is an impossibility. It never happened. It never can happen. Because the idea of being stuck is impossible. The Ben Sorah Mora is impossible because every single human being can change. No one is stuck in what they're doing and no one is stuck in who they are. No one is stuck in their path. Any box that a Jew puts himself in is a temporary box. The Jew is greater than that box. The Nishmas Yisrael is the most powerful thing in the universe. And in the month of Elul, when this parsha is always read, we need to be reinfused and invigorated with that idea. That it is impossible to say, Nidon Ashum Sofo, that I'm locked into who I am. I'm locked into what I do. I'm not locked in. It's not inevitable. And I have the ability to change. And that message we need to hear before Rosh Hashanah, before we stand there on the Yom Adin and recognize Rosh Hashanah Yikosemun of Yom Tzom Kippur Yechosemun. we understand that God looks at everything about us, we also understand that we're not locked in to who we've been. We can grow, we can change, and we can break free. And perhaps that's one of the powerful, important messages of the Ben Sora Mora. Everybody should have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing, and Heilige Shabbos, breaking free of those things that hold us down and recognizing that we're not locked in to anything. Shabbos.